Welcome to Seattle. Some late night college hoops from the Pacific Northwest. A beautiful shot of the downtown skyline. The number 7 Zags coming across the state. They've won 16 straight against Pac-12 teams, taking on the Washington Huskies. Heisman night as the trophy was presented in New York. Unfortunately for the Huskies, they saw their quarterback Michael Penix Jr. finish second to Jayden Daniels of LSU, who won the 2023 Heisman Trophy. Husky fans hoping for a better outcome here tonight inside Alaska Airlines Arena with Sean Farnham, Roxy Bernstein with you. And this is one of those rivalries, Sean, that's good for college basketball.
Good for college basketball. Two teams from the same state, obviously different conferences. And recently, when you play the Zags and you're in the Pac-12, it's a lot like a Hallmark Christmas movie. You kind of know the outcome before it even begins. But we'll see tonight if the Huskies can go ahead and reverse that trend.
Well, Anton Watson, a big factor for Mark Few and the Zags. A good matchup with Keion Brooks Jr. of Washington.
Well, Keion Brooks is the straw that stirs the drink offensively, averaging better than 20 points per game this year. And coming off of a game where he did not play exceptionally well against Montana State, only having 9 points in that game, but they need him to be productive and aggressive tonight, moving without the basketball. Anton Watson does everything. He's the elder statesman for the Gonzaga Bulldogs, but one of the things that maybe isn't valued as much is his elite level defense. He can really switch 1 through 4, but he's got the assignment tonight against Keion Brooks to try to take him out of the game and neutralize his scoring punch.
Well, we have a purple out inside the arena tonight. Yes, that means they encourage the fans to wear purple. And the Huskies are wearing purple as well. And there is the stat where the Zags have won 16 in a row against Pac-12 teams. UCLA, they beat the Zags in the kennel back in December of 2015, the last time Gonzaga lost to a Pac-12 team.
That's a while ago.
That is a number of years ago. You were not on that UCLA team.
No, but I covered that game.
Ryan Nembhard with the first points of the night. So even though they're on the road, the Zags are wearing the home whites and the purple for Washington here tonight. Here is Sahvir Wheeler, and he finds Paul Mulcahy in the corner, who rattles in a 3. And he does some barking to the Gonzaga bench running back up the floor.
A drive and kick. You know, the thing about this Huskies team, Roxy, you and I both saw them in Las Vegas, is with Mulcahy and Wheeler, you've got two guards that do an outstanding job of finding their teammates.
And a foul on Keion Brooks Jr. that will send Anton Watson to the line. Starting 5 for the Zags and 2 shots for Watson. There is Mark Few, 25th season as the head coach at Gonzaga, 35th overall, and a winning percentage of nearly 84% in his career. It's crazy.
The standard of this program and how they've gone about doing it every single year. Now, this year's a little bit different, though. I mean, you really look at this roster, and there's really only 3 holdovers. Anton Watson, Nolan Hickman, and Ben Gray that are in the rotation playing. Everybody else is new, and that's been a little bit of an adjustment for everybody, but the cohesiveness of this group, I think everybody talked to in the program, the cohesiveness of this Gonzaga team is off the charts good.
What stood out to me, Sean, as I saw them when they beat USC in Las Vegas last Saturday night, is how connected they are at the defensive end despite so many new faces. Dusty Stromer dumps it down low to Graham Ike. Turns middle and gives the Zags the lead.
Yeah, Ike is going to do the early post-up. And one of the things that we talked about with Coach Hopkins when we spoke with him today, he said, listen, we got to try to eliminate the early post-up by Graham Ike. And that time in that possession, they allowed him to get to his spot on the floor where he can catch it and finish with ease.
Paul Mulcahy with some nifty footwork down low, and we're knotted at 5. Grad transfer from Rutgers, who went over 500 career assists in their win here Tuesday night against Montana State, and a foul on the drive committed by the Huskies.
Watch the post up 2 feet in the paint, catch it, read the defense, and try to attack the interior. But Mulcahy doing the exact same thing from the guard position, a big guard. And the difference between him and Wheeler, obviously stylistically, the size, the speed factor. But Mulcahy's, I love when they play through him. In that San Diego State game that we had, 97-100, and sure some Husky fans are going like Moses Wood was still fouled on that last shot, and they're not wrong. But Mulcahy had 13 assists in that game, and when they played through him, a lot of great things happened.
Here he is getting into the lane. And the block shot for Nolan Hickman, and the Zags come away with it. Ryan Nembhard, the floater, and gets the roll.
Now, this team loves to play fast, the Gonzaga Bulldogs. They are #1 in the country in scoring in the first 10 seconds of the shot clock. Ideally, if you're Washington, you want to make them play in the half court. You cannot allow them to get easy runouts.
And Stromer loses his footing, and it goes out of bounds. We're going back the other way to Washington.
Watch the defense, the block shot, Nolan Hickman with the eraser, and then Anton Watson gives it to Ryan Nembhard, and he is in go mode. You know, we talk about his brother who played at this program. Ryan is aggressive and attacks a little bit more. He's a little bit more assertive right off the bounce right away, and they want to get his perimeter shot going, but he can try to flatten out that defense with that initial push.
And Frank Kepnang stepped over the end line, and a turnover by Washington. And it goes to the Zags. 9-5, the early lead for Gonzaga.
I love true road games. I mean, we're sitting up here, and we're in a unique place for us to call the game, too. We're not down on the floor. Like, we're up on the concourse level, smelling the hot dogs and the popcorn. But great road test for this Gonzaga team. True road game, and a little bit lucky on that tip-in right there.
Graham Ike will get credit for it. It might have gone off Frank Kepnang.
If it's soccer, they call it an own goal. But you know, student sections here, it's going to be sold out. A lot of people are still making their way in to the facility right now. But this is what college basketball, what's special, what's great about it is these rivalry matchups.
Xavier Wheeler missing the three. Here comes Ryan Nembhard pushing for the Zags. What a move in the open floor. Then the pass hits the underside of the backboard, and Washington counters back the other way, and it's broken up by Anton Watson. It stays with Washington.
These students were out early today and looking to pack the place.
They were lined up to get in.
And it was raining. Atmospheric river outside, they said. I watched the local news last night.
Keon Brooks Jr. finishes down low. First points for the transfer from Kentucky, who averages over 20 points per game.
You know, I was watching the guys in studio earlier today talk about the Missouri-Kansas game. It's a rivalry game, and sometimes the emotion of the game can overwhelm you a little bit.
Frank Kepnang the follow slam.
Well, this is a rivalry game too, and for the Huskies that are looking to try to make a statement in their non-conference, this is their best opportunity in the remaining schedule to really capture who they can be and what they could potentially be when they get to conference play. You run in the open floor, you play freely. Wheeler takes the three-point shot, but Kepnang gets the block shot, and the big man runs rim to rim. He doesn't give up on the play. He's able to corral the rebound and put it back in. The size, the strength, the finish. And the Huskies say, let's go.
You're watching the Pac-12 on ESPN. A rainy night in Seattle. 11-9 the Zags, the early lead on Washington.
Top stories, though, in the West region. How about Arizona sitting atop? The AP poll dominant performance today against Wisconsin. They were outstanding. Utah, huge win for Craig Smith over an undefeated and nationally ranked BYU team. Gabe Madsen had 5 threes in the game to lead the Utes to that big home victory. And then Bronny James set to make his USC debut tomorrow against Long Beach State. You'll see him down in Auburn about a week from now.
Next Sunday, they'll head over to take on Bruce Pearl and the Auburn Tigers. Early 11-9 lead for Gonzaga. And the Zags have made 5 of their first 8 shots from the floor. As Braxton Mia in the ball game for Washington. Frank Kepnong getting a breather. They exchange one 7-footer for another as Graham Ike goes to work on Mia, and Ike already with 6.
Yeah, you look at the numbers for Graham Ike coming out of Wyoming. They were big numbers. I mean, almost a 20-point per game, 10 rebounds per game, and everybody just thought, okay, well, transferable, but they forget he missed so much time there. He's still working his way back in, and I think learning how this system works, this Zags team is just starting to scratch the surface of who they can be.
There is Ike on the defensive glass. Loose ball. It stays with Washington at this end of the floor.
Graham Ike moves so well without the ball, and when he gets to space, in particular in pick and roll situations where he can duck in and bury you, you've got to move your feet and get around him in the post, or you've got to meet him early. Those are your only 2 options.
Nolan Hickman tips it away, races up the floor, and he's blocked from behind by Moses Wood.
What a hustle play by Moses Wood. Just a very poorly executed out of bounds play, but Moses Wood doesn't give up on it. Remember, Moses Wood played against Gonzaga when he was at Portland.
Ike finds Nolan Hickman, who drains a 3.
He says, all right, you take away my 2, I'll go ahead and hit you with a 3.
Largest lead for Gonzaga, and the first 3 for the Bulldogs tonight.
Zags shooting the ball so well to start this game. 64% from the field.
Moses Wood up and under from the elbow.
The freshman Dusty Stromer left his feet and cleared out space, and Moses Wood able to knock down shot. The more consistent Moses Wood can be from deep, the better this Huskies team is going to be. They struggled a year ago from beyond the arc. They got a career 40% 3-point shooter, and Moses Wood hasn't played to that level just yet.
Another 3 for Nolan Hickman. And he has 8, and the lead is 8 for Gonzaga. Hickman 35% on the young season from outside the arc. Keon Brooks Jr. leans in and uses the window. Graham Ike down low. And that shot was affected by Braxton Mia. Still plenty of time on the shot clock for the Huskies. Keon Brooks Jr. from deep. And there's Graham Ike, a good box out for Gonzaga. And Anton Watson leads the break. Dusty Stromer missing a transition 3. Moses Wood clears for the Huskies. UW on the attack. Paul Mulcahy open in the corner. And the second 3 for Paul Mulcahy.
Both from the exact same spot right in front of the Gonzaga bench. And a good extra pass. Moses Wood had a good shot. He turned it into a great shot by making the extra pass to find Mulcahy.
And both of these teams have been making the unselfish play this year. Graham Ike lays it in, but both of these teams in the top 40 in the country in assists per game. That's familiar territory for Gonzaga, but something new for Washington this year and how well they share the ball. Xavier Wheeler goes underneath in the reverse.
Well, you mentioned Mulcahy with his 500th career last game. Wheeler had his 700th assist in the last game. He had 1,200 assists from 2 players.
And Wheeler is the active assist leader in all of college basketball. Nolan Hickman steps out, misses that 3. Braxton Mia clears. And the outlet from the 7'1" senior center. Xavier Wheeler darts inside, and the reach in on Dusty Stromer. 3-point lead for the Zags. Just over 11 minutes to go here in the first half. In Seattle, number 7 Gonzaga, and the Washington Huskies coming up. Sean Farnham's going to try a different sport.
A
imagining myself having to hit a game winner in the Apple Cup in order to allow my team to have a chance to win a national championship. I'd be Grady Gross if I was doing that. He's going to be joining us next.
Tuesday night, 7 Eastern on ESPN2 from Cameron Indoor. The first meeting of Hofstra and number 22 Duke. ESPN2, 7 o'clock Eastern, Tuesday night from Cameron Indoor. And the head coach of Hofstra, their former great guard, former NBA guard, Speedy Claxton.
Yep.
The head coach at Hofstra.
He's got a scorer in Tyler Thomas that can really fill it up. I mean, a really good. You know what? And Duke today got production from Jared McCain. And I think it's either got to be Caleb Foster or Jared McCain start making some shots on a consistent basis, take some pressure off the other guards. And McCain had a big performance today. I think that's a good sign for Duke.
It's funny, so much was made about the freshman class that John Shire signed, but it's Kyle Filipowski, Jeremy Roach who are leading that team.
Well, experience leads in college. I mean, that's what we're seeing across the country. That's why all these teams, when you and I started broadcasting, like we would start and go, okay, so here's the number. He's all conference last year. He's all this and all that. Now, the first thing we write in every one of our lines and our squares is transferred from, via from, because it's not even just a one-time transfer. Now you got two-time transfers. You got COVID years, 6 years.
There's even 4-time transfers.
Yes. So it really does in the early portion of the season, I think, disrupt who a team is in November is very, very different than who they're going to be in January. The verbiage is different. Their roles are different. How players react on the court and understand where they want the ball, how they want the ball, that all takes time to evolve.
Braden Huff off the bench for Gonzaga, the redshirt freshman. 5 to shoot. Ryan Nembhard swatted. Frank Kepnon comes flying through the air. But a foul first against Corin Johnson of the Huskies. Boy, where'd Frank Kepnon come from?
Well, the middle of paint, that's where he was standing, Roxy. But he's got great athleticism. No worries. Great athleticism, great timing, and he is a violent shot blocker. Like, he does not want to get a fingertip on it. He wants to spike it every single time.
One more for Nembhard. Well, you know, his mom is a black belt in karate, so I'm wondering if that's where he got that aggressiveness from.
No, the martial arts is a disciplined sport where you have to have peace of mind and zen in your thought process.
Thank you, Daniel LaRusso.
Great movie, by the way.
Steal, Anton Watson the finish.
Well, that's his defense leading to some offense right there. I mean, it just plays at the top. When they go to the zone press, he'll play up at the top and utilize his size and the length to be really disruptive.
Anthony Holland off the bench for Washington. Also in the game for the Zags, Ben Gregg. These two posts have been really good for Mark Few off the bench. And that's a turnover by Washington. And it goes back to Gonzaga almost the midway point of the first half.
You watch this press and, well, okay, he's just a little bit careless with the basketball and impeccable timing from Anton Watson to deflect it. And then once he gets it, he knows exactly what to do. And one of the things Mark Few and Gonzaga has done for years, that they've allowed their bigs and encouraged their bigs to attack in transition. And it has created so many positive opportunities for the Zags over that time.
Braden Huff left open, missed the three. And Keon Brooks Jr. clears. Here come the Huskies.
Opposing bigs are taught to run back to the paint. They're not taught to pick up the ball and stop it in transition.
The putback, Frank Kepnon for Washington.
Kepnon, his energy and what he brings to the table for the Huskies. We saw it in Las Vegas and again here tonight. He's an energy giver to the Huskies.
Anton Watson missing from deep, and a foul going for the rebound against Gonzaga.
No one's going to go against Huff.
And it's so critical, and you and I were talking to Mike Hopkins before the ball game, Sean. The foul issues for Frank Kepnon, that's been the problem, is he gets himself in foul trouble and he loses that aggressiveness as the game goes on. They need him to stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah, staying out of foul trouble allows them to have longer term success because he's so active even there, he didn't get the rebound, but because he's aggressively going after it, the Zags were out of position, and that allowed the tip out to come.
Xavier Wheeler had it poked away. Ryan Nembhard hustling up the floor. Hits the trailer, and a foul, and one. Ben Gregg for Gonzaga.
A good job going out in transition. Turnovers have got to be limited when you're playing against the Zags. That's 6 turnovers already for the Huskies, and a beautiful drop off here. Gregg unable to finish it, but will go ahead and shoot 2 free throws now for Gonzaga. And you know, we talk so much about running your own race in college basketball, and not a lot of players do it. Anton Watson has done it. He's been patient. Ben Gregg has been really patient as well. He could start for a ton of programs in college basketball and put up much bigger numbers. But his belief in growing up in the Spokane area before he moved to Oregon, wanting to be part of this program and understanding the development and his level of importance, his role on this team this year is extremely important to their long-term success.
Koren Johnson finds Frank Kepnang in the lane. He's coming off a double-double, 16 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 blocks in their blowout win of Montana State here on Tuesday. And the third 3 for Nolan Hickman.
How about the first half for Hickman? 11 points, 3 of his 4 makes are from deep.
So Hickman off to a great start for Gonzaga. The lead is 7.
He's been shooting much, much better from beyond the arc, Nolan Hickman.
But now he just fouled Koren Johnson, who will shoot 3 as he's fouled shooting the 3.
Hickman over the last 4 games has shot 47% from beyond the arc. And again, transitioning from a ball-dominant guard a season ago to off-ball with Ryan Nembhard now part of this team. But if he shoots 40+%, and if they can get Dusty Stromer to shoot the ball the way he's capable, and all of a sudden that opens up a lot. And Hickman, you can just tell tonight, for whatever reason, whether it's the last couple of games building on that, he's playing with a great deal of confidence right now.
We're coming home to Seattle, where they'll also play next weekend here in Seattle. As
that will be a great
Friday night at Climate Pledge Arena. They'll play UConn.
UConn, look, Arizona's number 1. Like, if I was a college football playoffs, you know, and we just looked and threw out records and who's undefeated and who's not, I would say right now Arizona would still be my number 1 team, but UConn probably right behind them. Stephen Castle's gonna, you know, he's been back now for a couple of games. They got off to a little bit of a stagnant start today and just throttled, but the depth, how they play, UConn is legit.
Ryan Nembhard now with 8. The lead is 7 for the Zags.
Took that loss in Allen Fieldhouse and then came back and beat North Carolina. Whoa!
Frank Kepnang.
Oh.
Do I dare put a SportsCenter top 10 on that one?
You can put whatever you want on it.
My goodness.
I mean, the students aren't the only ones standing up. I mean, are you kidding me? The spin and all the way through to the other side, and then look at the passion and emotion. Frank Kepnang is playing hard. He is playing ferocious, and he is a problem right now for the Gonzaga Bulldogs underneath.
And the second foul on Braden Huff. But Frank Kepnang an early 8 points for the Washington big man with a couple of rebounds. And it's not just the shot, Sean, that he blocks, but it's the shot he changes as well at the defensive end. And that's what's so critical for him to stay out of foul trouble and stay on the floor. Sean, we're seeing it, what he's capable of doing for Washington.
And what that does with the options that they have.
Welcome to Seattle for those of you just joining us. With Sean Farnham, Roxy Bernstein with you. Good start here in the Pacific Northwest between number 7 Gonzaga and Washington. The guards early for Gonzaga have been terrific, especially Nolan Hickman.
Yeah, Nolan Hickman, who has been shooting the ball so well from beyond the arc over the last 4 games, has come in and carried that through tonight, and he continues to shoot the ball well from beyond the arc. 3 of 4, 4 of 6 overall, and 11 points for Nolan Hickman to really spark the Zags offense. A team right now that's shooting 57% on the road, over halfway through the first half, but we just saw one of the best dunks you're going to see all day long. Kepnang has been outstanding. Physical, he had an offensive rebound and a putback, and then he just did this. Look out. Catch it on one side, the emotion, the slide, the fist pump. He provides so much for the Washington Huskies in regards to their energy. And when you have somebody that plays with that toughness, that fight, it's easy for you to step up your game.
So the purple out, that's why the Huskies are wearing purple here at home tonight. And the Zags going with the whites. But Gonzaga's had their domination over the Pac-12. 16 straight wins for the Zags against Pac-12 teams. That's a streak Washington is trying to break tonight. And the last time that a Pac-12 team beat Gonzaga was at the Kennel in December of 2015 when the UCLA Bruins went up to Spokane and got a win.
Tony Parker was on that team for the UCLA Bruins.
Was Kevon Looney there too then?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But that was a rare Tony Parker, really good performance, by the way.
One shot for Frank Kepnang after the second foul on Braden Huff. And Washington, the Huskies are looking for their first win over a top 10 team since 2018. And Kepnang gets the and one free throw, and that pulls the Huskies to within 4. I can't lean on dogs because they're both dogs.
Good point, Roxy.
Yep. Could be confusing if I say dogs. Got the Bulldogs and the Huskies. Graham Ike. And the miss inside the rebound. Here comes Koren Johnson for UW. The lob for Kepnang and the tip in Frank Kepnang.
Well, how hard he is running from rim to rim right now is just so impressive. He plays great position defense at this end of the floor, not allowing to give up space for Ike, and at the other end able to tip it in.
Graham Ike with the left hand.
That time he got buried a little bit more.
But at least he's not fouling, and Mike Hopkins can live with that.
Well, but he can't live with turnovers. And that is the 7th turnover we've seen in the first half by the Huskies. Watch this, a little forced fadeaway jump shot on that possession, and then just runs the floor, gets out in front of the guard, and goes up with one hand, able to finish.
You know what's crazy is before he picked up basketball, well, his mom is a black belt in karate. He took up karate, and he was a tennis player before he became a basketball player. Could you imagine trying to pass him at the net?
I bet you he's great at pickleball. Do you pickleball?
I haven't played pickleball in a long time.
I have some friends who just absolutely love pickleball. Either that or their spouses love pickleball.
Keon Brooks Jr. for the Huskies. I still stick to the tennis court.
I don't play any tennis.
I don't want to see Frank Kepnang at the net. Serve and volley would be very intimidating.
Fair enough.
2-point lead for Gonzaga. Nolan Hickman with 11. Graham Ike with 10 to lead Gonzaga as Anton Watson drains a 3. Well, Washington led by 11 from Kepnang and 8 from Paul Mulcahy. Moses Wood lines one up from deep. Koren Johnson, the offensive rebound, throws up a wild shot.
What?
And it goes in. How did that go for Koren Johnson? Luck on the side of Koren Johnson right there. Nolan Hickman high off the window and in.
How entertaining and how much fun has this game been?
39-34 Gonzaga. Both teams up above 50%. In fact, Washington shooting 61% from the floor.
We talk so much about the connectivity of Gonzaga at the defensive end, but Washington has been able to execute and get what they want.
Frank Kepnang in the key. And a foul as Graham Ike got him on the arm.
Here's the good thing about that foul. It allows us to all step aside and just pause for a second and show you this. What are we watching? What is that? You know, listen, we talk about, oh, they practice creative shots. Nobody practices to turn your back to the basket, not even look, and just throw it up blindly over the top of your head. If they did, it would look like that.
You heard a lot of this sellout crowd, some Gonzaga fans here tonight, voicing their displeasure about the foul call on Graham Ike. One more for Kepnang. In this series, by the way, Gonzaga has won each of the last 7 and 14 of the last 15 from Washington. Rattles out from Kepnang. The last time the Huskies beat the Zags was here in December of 2005. Kepnang on the defensive glass for Washington.
Well, the effort in the first half by the Huskies, they've been dialed into how they have to play. If that's 8 turnovers. There's an 8-2 turnover differential between these two right now. And if they took better care of the basketball, they'd have the lead right now.
So Mike Hopkins, 2-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year, year 7 guiding the Huskies. And he is dialed in tonight as well as Anton Watson moves in. Finds the open Nolan Hickman, who steps in. And a foul. We're going the other way. It's a push on Gonzaga going for the rebound. And that's the second on Graham Ike.
We talked about rivalry matchups, and we mentioned Missouri, Kansas earlier on. BYU, Utah, we showed that. Great game by Gabe Madsen. 5 3-pointers, huge win for Craig Smith.
And a full house in Salt Lake City for that one today.
All right, this is a near full house right here. This would be a huge win for Mike Hopkins and this program. They've handled and channeled the emotion of this first half pretty well.
And a block and the second foul on Dusty Stromer of Gonzaga. And that's the 7th team foul, so the Huskies are now in the bonus. It'll be a 1-and-1. Sunday on ESPN, the 10th annual Basketball Hall of Fame Women's Showcase doubleheader at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. First game at 2:30 Eastern. Lynn Roberts and number 11 Utah take on the number 1 team in the country, South Carolina. And then number 24 North Carolina and number 17 UConn. In between games, a 23rd annual WNBA draft lottery from Bristol.
Oh, you get a chance to see Alyssa Peely, who's been putting up monster numbers all season long for Utah. Averaging 23 points per game. Such an important player for the Utes.
Moses Wood hits both. First appearance for Jun-Suk Yo, the native of South Korea, for Gonzaga. As Ike on the bench with 2 fouls, Stromer on the bench with 2 fouls, Brayton Huff has 2, and now here come the Huskies on the attack. Down 2. Corinne Johnson blocked by Jun-Suk Yo. And an offensive foul is called. In the charge, that's the 3rd on Brayden Huff with 3:35 to go in the first half.
You want to pull off the upset, you have to make some special plays. You have to play with emotion. You have to feel it, take it in, and then execute. And sometimes you have to have a little luck on your side. We've had both here in the first half, and it's a 2-point game, Roxy. Listen, patience to all those. We teased it, but we are switching over to ESPN2. We'll get to Grady Gross, and you can see my outstanding kick later.
We should leave the kicking in your family to your daughter.
Yes, very much so.
Yes.
I was awful. You'll want to see it, trust me.
Our game summary so far, Nolan Hickman for Gonzaga leads all scorers with 13. Frank Kepnong has 12. It's been a huge factor for Washington.
Little zone here by Gonzaga out of the timeout.
With Anton Watson up top.
This is a little bit of a smaller lineup too overall. It's like Noike, Huff is obviously in foul trouble.
And the run out, here goes Ryan Nembhard for the lay-in.
As Spatola was just talking about in studio, it's now 11-2 in points off of turnovers here in the first half.
3 Zags in double figures, 13 for Hickman to lead everybody, 10 each for Graham Ike and Ryan Nembhard. As Keon Brooks Jr. can't get the roll on the baseline, Anton Watson clears, here come the Zags. But the foul's mounting for Gonzaga. That's why this smaller lineup is out there with Brayton Huff on the bench, 3 fouls, 2 each for Graham Ike and Dusty Stromer.
Well, I like the zone the last 2 possessions.
Open, Ben Gregg, 3.
Collapse the defense with the drive and then find a shooter. Greg had his feet set and dialed it in.
Gonzaga's led by as many as 8. The lead is 7 right now.
Well, dribble penetration has hurt this Gonzaga defense in the first half. The zone has done a good job so far of keeping them out over the top and forcing them into contested shots.
And the rebound ripped down.
What a pass!
Long pass. Watson in transition to Ben Gregg.
What a pass by Anton Watson.
7-0 run.
We talk about versatility and what he brings. It's feel, it's understanding. Full court dimes, let's go.
More look at this last play. What a play by Anton Watson.
Huskies fans are used to seeing some great passing. Michael Penix Jr. was unbelievable all year, but how about this one? On the hardwood, it may not get any prettier than that. One hand flipper, the length of the court, drops it in on a dime for Ben Gregg.
Largest lead of the night for Gonzaga.
The vision and the versatility that Anton Watson brings is just incredible.
Moses Wood from deep, and the Huskies needed that.
They forced a long closeout on the back line of that zone defense. Watson was just a step late. And now 2-3 zone from the Huskies,
which had been a staple for Mike Hopkins up until this year. Nolan Hickman on the baseline.
How about 15 points in the first half? His season high was 19 against Syracuse. He might have that in the first 20 minutes here.
And a career high of 20 last year against Santa Clara for Nolan Hickman. Final minute of this first half. Both teams up over 50% shooting from the floor. Moses Wood tries another three-pointer. The rebound, Ben Gregg for Gonzaga.
Mark Few tells him slow it down for a second. Rare time that he's asked him to slow it down. They've done such a great job of scoring early and attacking in transition. Understand the clock is your friend here.
10 to shoot. Ryan Nembhard backing his way in and a step back. And Keon Brooks pulls it down. The Huskies can play for the last shot of the half. Inside the final 20 seconds.
How much fun has this half been, Roxy?
Building has been electric. The teams have been fantastic getting up and down the floor at great pace. This has been a fun half of basketball.
The shots are being made. You're talking about 56% shooting and 54% shooting. And how about a little bit more to make you understand how much fun this game has been?
The step back from Xavier Wheeler to end the half, and a 6-point lead for Gonzaga at the break.
A little push. Anton Watson backs off. Xavier Wheeler knocks it in. We got ourselves a 6-point game at the break.
48-42, number 7 Gonzaga with the lead. Looking for their 17th straight win over a Pac-12 team. Let's go to the studio and the halftime report. You're watching the Pac-12 on ESPN in Seattle. And a fun first half between number 7 Gonzaga and the Washington Huskies. 48-42, the Zags lead it as we're getting ready to start the second half. Along with Sean Farnham, Roxy Bernstein with you. They got up and down, and transition was a big reason why the Zags had the lead at the half.
Well, it's transition from what they were able to do defensively, and the Huskies were a little careless with the basketball, and they were able to exploit that and go against them with an unsettled defense, whether it was the block shot to a run out or the defense creating turnovers and allowing them to score. Gonzaga is as good as anybody in the country, scoring in the first 10 seconds of the shot clock, and a lot of that is because their defense, the activity, and their ability to attack. And they were in go mode from the start of this game tonight, and they have not stopped. Now, the one thing that Coach Mike Hopkins said is if Frank Kepnang could stay out of foul trouble and maintain his level of intensity over the course of this entire game, that would be huge for his team. Well, they went to the break, and Kepnang had 0 fouls, and his intensity, I think you can see for yourself, it was pretty good. He has 12 points, a couple of block shots, and really has been the energy giver to the Huskies. The guards need to take better care of the basketball. And if they do that, the Huskies could win this game. If they turn it over at the same rate they did in the first half, it's going to be awfully tough.
Moses Wood missing a 3. Frank Kepnang on the offensive glass. And the Zags come away with it, and Nolan Hickman across midcourt. Pull-up 3 in transition from Hickman. And there's Keon Brooks Jr. The rebound, and Washington quickly counters. Xavier Wheeler tried to shovel it to Kepnang. It's intercepted by Anton Watson.
Anton Watson, he does a little bit of everything. And he just understands positioning, where he's supposed to be and how he's supposed to execute.
Paul Mulcahy clears the Watson miss. And now it's Keon Brooks Jr. attacking the basket for the Huskies.
Well, Keon Brooks is too old and too experienced.
Quickly back the other way, and Graham Ike will get to the line as the Zags, even on a made basket, quickly countering.
Well, Keon Brooks Jr. out in transition. Dusty Stromer, the freshman. And Keon Brooks recognizes that and says, hey, I'm going to go after him and try to attack him right away.
Ike 79% from the line. And he misses the first, picked up 2 fouls in the first half. Ike 10 points, couple of rebounds. A couple of years ago, he was first team All-Mountain West for Wyoming, then missed last season. Medical redshirt and transferred to Gonzaga.
Remember, foul trouble, Huff with 3, Stromer with 2, Ike with 2.
Zags led by as many as 9 in the first half. Frank Kepnang missing the alley-oop pass from Xavier Wheeler, and then misses again on the jump hook, and it's Stromer the rebound for Gonzaga.
Those are ones you have to be able to finish, Roxy.
Graham Ike lost his headband in the process. Offensive foul, a charge on Keon Brooks Jr. of Washington.
So he went to the break with great rhythm, and so far to start here in the second half, neither team has been able to come out of the locker room and maintain their rhythm. We had a similar foul called in the first half that was a Huff personal foul against Gonzaga. I think both those, by the way, both those charges, they could be no call.
Especially the way the block charge has been called this year in college basketball, as the jumper missed by Dusty Stromer. The Huskies quickly attack, and Xavier Wheeler to the basket, throws up a wild shot. He'll get to the line. A foul on Gonzaga as Wheeler went tumbling into the photographers there on the baseline.
Foul is on Gonzaga's number 13.
Third on Graham Ike.
We'll see a lot of Ben Gregg here in the second half, and I thought he did a really good job coming off the bench. At 7 points in the first half. He's at the scorer's table. He'll be the one that's subbing in.
Xavier Wheeler 1 for 2 from the line so far tonight.
Well, Ike goes to the bench, and it's a loss. of not just a headband, but him being able to be on the floor. And a nice finish at that end of the floor. But you have to understand, I mean, I just mentioned the foul trouble in the first half. Guys were 2 fouls, 3 fouls. Okay, you can be aggressive, but you have to be smart. And Wheeler's aggressively attacking, and you're reaching and you're lunging. Well, it's an easy call. And then you're giving up points at the free throw line.
Just over 2 minutes into the second half, and Gonzaga turns it over to Washington. So the Huskies, they've scored 80 or more in each of the last 4 games. It's the longest stretch for a Washington team, as Moses Wood missing a 3 since the start of the 2016-2017 season. Xavier Wheeler the steal. Darts up the floor. Good job in transition defense by the Zags. And the bump on Ryan Nembhard.
Xavier Wheeler right now is applying a lot of pressure off the bounce. He's drawn 2 fouls already here in the early stage of the second half by being aggressive and attacking. That was almost a 5-second call.
Very close. Here he is again attacking, and Wheeler, the scoop, misses the lay-in. And the offensive rebound, Ketnong. And the loose ball, there's Wheeler hustling for the Huskies. Keon Brooks missing on the baseline. The rebound tipped out to Dusty Stromers. The Huskies had some good looks that trip.
Ketnong right now is rushing his shot attempts here in the second half. He's not getting his feet solid underneath him. He's not giving that strong base and allowing him. Oh my goodness. He can do that though.
Fuels the break. Xavier Wheeler lost it going up. Back the other way. Here comes Ryan Nembhard for Gonzaga. And he tries to dunk it, and he's fouled by Ketnong.
Frank Ketnong goes up and meets it at the square and erases it. And then this one in transition, they called that a foul. And I'm telling you right now, Roxy, that wasn't a foul. But what it has done, regardless if it's a foul or not, is this building is rocking right now.
One more look at it. Ryan Nembhard hits the first free throw.
I just think that's a good block. I mean, where's the contact? Where are you seeing the contact?
Just being silent, Sean.
That's a first in your career.
Nembhard hits both. 7-point lead for the
Walton
Zags.
would agree. Bet you Bill's watching this.
I know he's watching this. It's Conference of Champions. Let's go. An over and back call on Paul Mulcahy. And a turnover committed by Washington.
All right, so we had outstanding rhythm and flow in the first half of this game. Now we just have a lot of emotion. Channel that energy and start to execute in the same clip that we saw in the first half, I think is going to be very pivotal. Who takes a breath and exhales first here in the second half?
Gonzaga's used to being in these games, in this type of environment. Now, a lot of new faces for Gonzaga this season for Mark Few, where Washington and the Huskies haven't necessarily dealt with this kind of emotion yet. They've played some close ball games. They played a great game against San Diego State and Las Vegas. But let's face it, Sean, there weren't many people in the building that night.
No, there were not.
Nolan Hickman, the runner. And the Zags have matched their largest lead.
Hickman's got 17. The shot selection from Nolan Hickman has been at an A+ level all night long. He is 7 of 11 shooting, 3 of 5 from beyond the arc.
Wilhelm Breidenbach in the game for Washington. And he gets rustled out of the way by Ben Gregg, who picks up his first foul of the night. Zags have matched their largest lead of the night. On the road in Seattle, they're up 9 on the Huskies.
I can't do this don't give up thing all by myself. This whole fight, this journey thing is not a solo venture. This is something that requires support.
The V Foundation Stuart Scott Cancer Research Fund honors Stuart's legacy by awarding grants to scientists who are addressing racial disparities in cancer outcomes and providing opportunities to researchers from diverse backgrounds. ESPN and the V Foundation are proud to support this fund in Stuart's honor. You can support as well by visiting v.org/Stuart.
Early detection is very key. If you need a colonoscopy, go get it. Anything you can do to get early detection increases your ability of survival so big.
I'm actually having one on Monday.
Good for you. You should.
Anton Watson gives the Zags their largest lead.
I had mine last year. People, if you're over 45, go get a colonoscopy. It's very simple.
Xavier Wheeler goes crashing into the key, and the loose ball run down by Watson goes off his leg, and it will stay at this end of the floor with the Huskies, and they'll put a fresh 20 on the shot clock for UW. But the largest lead of the night for Gonzaga, the Huskies have missed their last 8 shots from the floor.
I love games that have rhythm, emotion, passion. We've had a little bit of everything here tonight. What a stop on a dime by Johnson.
Corin Johnson with 6 off the bench. And like Nolan Hickman of Gonzaga, they're both from Seattle and both went to the Wasatch Academy out in Utah. Ben Gregg goes to the basket. He's got 9 off the bench for the Zags.
What a strong move. You know, such a noted three-point shooter, but his ability to be more than that, present on that drive, that was strong. That's a foul.
Second on Ryan Nembhard.
Ben Gregg, size up, go into the body of the big, and then finish through him, extending up, shielding, and protecting the basketball.
Husky basketball.
He's an emotional leader for this team as well. He understands the Gonzaga way and how it's done.
Corin Johnson lines it up in the corner and buries a 3 for the Huskies. Fourth three-pointer for Washington tonight.
You got a mismatch. Gregg being guarded by Xavier Wheeler. Just go ahead and post him up.
Nembhard being watched by Wilhelm Breidenbach. And a foul as Gonzaga tried to take advantage of what you talked about, and they will get free throws out of it. Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2 from Cameron Indoor. Hofstra and number 22 Duke. The first meeting of Hofstra and Duke coming up Tuesday night, 7 Eastern on ESPN2, and one more for Ben Gregg.
You know what I love there is that they were going to struggle to drop it in. Nembhard was going to struggle to drop it in to Ben Gregg because Wheeler was staying on the high side so well. So Anton Watson lifts, and when he gets to the top of the elbow, that's what creates that opportunity for that high-low entry pass. And Gregg, knowing help side was coming over, he just threw it up right away and got the foul.
Anton Watson knocks down Keon Brooks off the ball. And that is the first on Anton Watson tonight.
Foul is on Gonzaga's number 22, Anton Watson. His first foul.
Spokane native Watson, who went to Gonzaga Prep, where his teammates with Liam Lloyd, the son of Arizona head coach Tommy Lloyd, former Gonzaga assistant. Liam now plays for Northern Arizona.
Well, Tommy's team, #1 in the country. A lot of similarities in how they attack and how aggressive they are offensively to what we see out of this Gonzaga program.
Out of bounds. And it's a Washington ball. Last touch by the Zags. As Deldre Carr, Kevin Brill, Ray Natilli are officials, and 2 of them point Washington's way. Goes right there off the foot of Jun-Suk Yo. All right, Frank Kepnang back on the floor for Mike Hopkins. And he has been such a factor tonight for Washington.
Has yet to score so far, though, here in the second half.
Xavier Wheeler open. Gets the roll. High off the window and back down for Wheeler.
When you're shooting 24% from beyond the arc, it doesn't matter how it goes in. You just want to see it drop.
Huskies have gotten some bounces tonight, that's for sure. Frank Kepnang the rebound. Here come the Dogs, or the Huskies, I should say, because the Bulldogs are the Dogs also.
I know, you've been really confused by that tonight.
It's thrown me off my game, I got to admit, because it's such a crutch to use Dogs.
You see, sometimes when you're at home, you understand the soft spot of the rim. I'm not sure if this is what they dialed up, but that literally almost bounced over the top of the backboard. Instead, it drops off that top white line and falls through the hoop.
And after we had the Dog show at halftime too here tonight, which is fitting with Gonzaga taking on Washington.
Look out.
Too high for Keon Brooks Jr. The Huskies throw it away.
Well, he was open too, and Mark Few is irate that they allowed Keon Brooks to get to that lane and have that much of an open path to the hoop. That was Ben Gregg who missed that assignment on the backside of the zone.
Gregg missing a good look at a 3, and Keon Brooks the rebound. Moses Wood, 3. And a timeout with 12:07 to go. The Huskies were down 11. It's a 4-point game. Coming up, Sean Farnham. Does he have a future as a kicker?
I'm going to say no.
Number 7 Gonzaga up 4 on Washington. 12:07 to go here in Seattle. Sunday on ESPN, the 10th annual Basketball Hall of Fame Women's Showcase doubleheader at Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut. Our first game at 2:30 Eastern, number 1 South Carolina and number 11 Utah, followed by number 24 North Carolina and number 17 UConn. Between games, the 23rd annual WNBA Draft Lottery from Bristol. It's all coming up Sunday. 10th annual Basketball Hall of Fame Women's Showcase.
Everybody in that draft lottery is thinking about 2 words: Caitlin Clark. She hit 35 the other night to eclipse 3,000 career points.
3,000. Anton Watson gets the roll in the key.
I didn't think about that, Ross. 15th player all time to eclipse 3,000 points.
And now the zone from Gonzaga. Keon Brooks in the corner, and he cuts the Zags lead in half.
Keon Brooks doing a really good job against the back line of that zone. They missed him on the alley-oop. That time he cleared out from left to right and got his feet set in the deep corner.
4 Huskies now in double figures. Frank Kepnang leads them with 12. Nolan Hickman for Gonzaga leads all scorers with 17. And an open 3 and a foul as Moses Wood fouls Jun-Suk Yo of Gonzaga. And 3 shots coming up for June. Zags by 3.
If you're talking about the Washington Huskies right now, you have to talk about football, and you have to talk about the face that runs the place. Grady Gross, the kicker for the Washington Huskies. Grady, your coach, Coach DeBoer, last night won the Home Depot National Coach of the Year. How much of that do you feel goes to your kick against Washington State?
I mean, not much. I try and do what I can to help, but it takes him to take that 4th and 1, run a little end around to get us 20 yards. So, you know, his play calling and his help with the team all year has kind of just led us to that moment. So I'm just glad I could finish it off.
Okay, my man's being a little humble here. He hits the game winner against Washington State, if you don't know. All right, where I'm meant to be right now is going to kick this football through the uprights down here. Now, McAfee does this on College Game Day. All right, so any tips you would give a novice like myself to be able to get through the ball? What are some of the keys? Give me 2 keys.
1, make sure you hit the ball in the right spot.
Okay, that's key. Where is the right spot on the ball?
So if you're kicking the ball, the sweet spot is right about here.
Okay.
If you can hit it with the bone, the big bone on your foot, right about there, you'll get the right rotation and enough height to get into it.
All right, this is not quite the Apple Cup kick, but let's go ahead and give it a try.
Let's go.
Oh, I would have been botched. They would have made fun of me. Herb Street, McAfee, where are you? You know where you are? You're covering the national semifinals. He's the actual one kicking for the Huskies. That's probably a good thing because, my God, that was pathetic.
I'd make fun of you, but I'd probably have the same result you did.
I was awful. No warm-ups. No warm-ups. Record can show I did not warm up in my attempt. That was that one kick, and it wasn't good. But the story of Grady Gross, though, phenomenal. I mean, he kicks that field goal against Washington State, and then in the post-game, he was awarded a scholarship. His family was so excited. They were all there and said it was a great moment. He said he'd like to have another moment down in New Orleans coming up in a couple of weeks.
Tough fadeaway miss short by Frank Kapnong. Well defended by Graham Ike.
A young man from Arizona that came up here to kick. By the way, foul of a three-point shooter. That's the second time in our game we've seen that.
The miss from Ryan Nembhard. Graham Ike keeps it alive on the offensive end for Gonzaga and then goes back up. And Anton Watson takes it away for the Zags. Watson across the key, draws contact. And a foul on Washington. It's on Keon Brooks Jr., his third. And you brought up Washington football. Well, a reminder, New Year's Day on ESPN, the college football playoff semis. The Rose Bowl has Michigan and Alabama at 5 o'clock Eastern. Then at 8:45, the Huskies and Texas in the Sugar Bowl. Winners play the national championship on ESPN in Houston, January 8th. College football playoff. One more for Anton Watson, and the Heisman was handed out earlier tonight, just so the Washington people are not mad at me. I voted for Michael Penix Jr.
Way to play to
So it wasn't my fault.
Way to play to the crowd, Roxy. I'm really looking forward to the college football playoffs this year. I think the matchups are great. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, there's been a great deal of controversy in the talk about Florida State. But as we get set for these games, I think both of the semifinal games are going to be a lot of fun to watch. Great dump down.
Before the shot, the foul on the floor committed by Jun Sukyo. And his first, but that is the 7th on Gonzaga. That puts the Huskies into the bonus and a 1-1 for Frank Kapnong.
His first foul of the game.
So Big Frank 2 for 3 from the line so far tonight. 12 points, 6 rebounds, a couple of blocks.
All 12 of those points, though, came in the first half. They get him active around the basket and finishing those emotional plays that he had in the first half. That opens up a lot more from the outside. Now, obviously, here in the second half, the Huskies have shot the ball well from 3.
One more for Kapnong. And Kapnong hits both ends of the 1-and-1 and pulls the Huskies to within 4. Ryan Nembhard penetrates. Graham Ike. Kapnong got it. Somehow he got to that one. Frank Kapnong down low.
Pass it.
Moses Wood along the baseline, slithers in for the reverse, and the Huskies are within 2.
He had to pass that. He didn't really have a solid offensive move to be had there. But Kapnong making the positive play again.
And now Xavier Wheeler ties the game for Washington. Timeout, Gonzaga.
Roxy, I was talking about Frank Kepnang not scoring. He gets to the free throw line. He comes down at the other end of the floor and gets a fingertip on that one, which immediately leads to the other end where he reads the defense. Moses Wood moves well without the ball. He drops it off, and that's 2, and then come right back down at the other end. And the deflection leads to the run out, and we're tied.
Quick 6-0 run for Washington. The Huskies have made 5 of their last 6 shots from the floor. And the Zags, who led by as many as 11 here in the second half, the lead has evaporated, and the Huskies have pulled even at 66.
We thought this game was going to be competitive. And talking to Mark Few, he said that this is going to be a tough test for the Zags.
How about this for how evenly matched these teams are tonight? 66-66 is the score. Gonzaga's 24 of 48 from the floor. Guess what Washington is from the floor?
Well, I have the cheat sheet in front of me, but you go ahead and tell everybody.
They're 24-48 from the floor also. 66 all, the Zags and the Huskies in Seattle. A full house on the shores of Montlake. And Washington coming in here, the Huskies are 5-3. They have a win over Xavier, and their 3 losses have been by a combined 15 points. And all 3 teams they lost to are within the top 30 of the net ranking. Their losses have come in overtime to San Diego State, Colorado State on a neutral floor, and they lost to Nevada.
A win here goes a long way. There's games on your schedule that you know just have a lasting impact. The Zags have been here before, though. They've watched leads evaporate in some of their other games, and they've always responded.
Nembhard cut off down low. 10 to shoot for Anton Watson. Drives off the leg of Kepnang, and 6 on the timer for the Zags.
Washington's doing a really good job of getting into gaps. On drives, they're trying to pinch, slap the ball away, and try to take away driving lanes.
Because it was kicked, they put 20 on the shot clock. Graham Ike goes to work on the baseline, gets the roll, and he gives Gonzaga the lead again.
That was a strong move by Ike.
15 now for Graham Ike. Washington has led only once in this game when it was 3-2. Xavier Wheeler for the lead, and he's fouled on a 3. Nolan Hickman will send Xavier Wheeler to the line. 3 shots for the Huskies.
His second foul on the game. Wheeler will shoot 3.
Rule number 1 in basketball: you don't foul a jump shooter. They just did.
Well, Gonzaga's over on the eastern side of the state, and they made the trek over to Seattle, which they'll do again next week when they'll play UConn at Climate Pledge Arena on Friday. There's the distance, but we have a game 2-point lead for the Zags.
Ike with a strong move underneath one of 5 Zags in double figures, and then the foul on the 3-point shot. We saw one at the other end of the floor for the Huskies, and now we see it for the Zags. And I was watching Bill Walton's game. I think they said that Utah fouled 4 times, 5 times maybe, on 3-point shots in that game. Like, you just cannot foul a 3-point shooter, and in particular, you look at June was the one fouled at this end. He shoots 13% from beyond the arc. At this end, you're sending Wheeler to the line to shoot 3 free throws, and he's a 24% 3-point shooter.
13 points now for Xavier Wheeler. This the second. One more for Wheeler. Tie game. Nembhard, Hickman, and Watson have been in all night, have not taken a breather.
And
now he's called for an offensive foul, the third on Ryan Nembhard.
Position by Johnson, really good. He was there on the first one, and then anytime an official sees your arm go off and extend out from your body, Johnson sold it, no doubt. But when the elbow goes away from your body, officials are going to call that.
Koren Johnson trying to give Washington the lead. Graham Ike rebounds. Nolan Hickman for the Zags. Down the lane, the floater from Hickman. Graham Ike on the offensive rebound. And a steal, but a foul against Washington. And it's on Koren Johnson of the Huskies.
And that'll be free throws for Anton Watson as he drives in. The steal is clean. But they're calling that foul on the backside by Keon Brooks.
They gave it to Koren Johnson, his second. And it's a 1-and-1 for Anton Watson. And he gets the roll, and the Zags seesaw back in front. One more for Anton Watson. And the two-time Washington Player of the Year gives the Zags a 2-point lead. Seven minutes to go. The Zags, 16 straight wins against the Pac-12. It's been 8 years since they lost to a Pac-12 team. It's deflected out, and Frank Kepnang thought he was fouled. 6 on the shot clock.
I think that's a good swipe.
Moses Wood. 3 to shoot. Strip. Brooks forced up a 3, and it missed everything in a shot clock violation committed by Washington.
And that is awfully close to being another foul of the three-point shooters. As the ball was loose, Anton Watson stepped into him. Wasn't called. Washington wanted it to be called.
Hickman, nice feed inside, but Frank Kepnang. Fourth block shot for Kepnang. Koren Johnson at trail 3, and he missed everything, and it's pulled down by Anton Watson for the Zags.
Every time the ball hits Anton Watson's hands, everything feels calm and right.
Hudson down low, the kick out, open, Dusty Stromer. And he clanks that one, but Graham Ike keeps it alive for Gonzaga. Nolan Hickman fires. And it goes over the top of the backboard, out of bounds to Washington.
I think for this Gonzaga team, Dusty Stromer has got to be able to knock down shots from the outside on a consistent basis. And, he had a great game against USC. He had 15 points. That's a big moment and a big shot. And he is 0 for 3 so far tonight.
Gonzaga's made just one of their last 8 shots, and they've had some pretty good looks. Xavier Wheeler had nowhere to go and throws it away.
But you leave your feet, instead of jump stopping, you leave your feet and you turn around and just throw it out of bounds. That is a really poor possession when possessions matter most late in this game. There's been 16 turnovers. The Zags have been able to capitalize on a lot of them throughout the course of the night. Valuing the basketball, understanding time and position and how you want to play. A player with 700 career assists. That's one he's going to want back. And Zags going to try to capitalize coming out of this timeout and try to see if they can extend the lead. To me, I play through Anton Watson again. Whether you elevate him and lift him to the top of the key and then have him dribble handoff action or become a facilitator from the forward position. If not, I'm posting him up, and again, I'll play through him off the block.
2-point lead for number 7 Gonzaga here in Seattle against Washington. Tuesday night, 7 Eastern on ESPN2 from Cameron Indoor. Duke Blue Devils taking on Hofstra for the first time, and Speedy Claxton. You talked about Tyler Thomas for Hofstra. 23.5 points per game. So Duke's got to try to slow down on Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern. Nolan Hickman off 1 foot, too strong with the banker. And Moses Wood the rebound, and the Huskies control it. Keon Brooks Jr. And a foul will send Brooks to the line. And it's the 3rd on Dusty Stromer of Gonzaga.
Nolan Hickman was outstanding in the first half. Playing very confidently, very aggressively, and finishing with great efficiency. In the last couple shots that he's had, he has not been in that same rhythm.
Brooks will shoot 2.
First trip to the line for Keon Brooks Jr. tonight. 83% on the year. 12 now for Brooks tonight. Second team all Pac-12 last year for Brooks, and he knocks the game at 70. 5th time this game has been tied. Frank Kepnong was out of bounds when he grabbed the basketball. Stays with Gonzaga.
A little bit over dribbling, both guards on both teams right now. They're dribbling themselves into trouble and limiting the opportunities that they have.
There's Watson along the baseline. The 5th block, a career high for Frank Kepnong. What a night he is having. To think about it, just over a year ago, he tore his ACL in their first Pac-12 game at Oregon State last December 1st. And he left that one short, and the rebound, Anton Watson for the Zags. 11 rebounds now for Watson, along with 4 steals tonight. Now a 3 from Watson is too strong. And chasing it down, Moses Wood for Washington. Four minutes to go. 70-70. Number 7 Washington, or rather number 7 Gonzaga and Washington. Xavier Wheeler to the basket, off the window, and the Huskies have the lead.
There's not a single person in this building sitting down right now.
And a 3, too strong from Ryan Nembhard, and Xavier Wheeler rips the rebound away for the Huskies. Huskies have outscored the Zags 12-4 in the recent minutes to take their largest lead of the night. Here's Brooks. Xavier Wheeler weaves his way in. 5 to shoot. The lob for Brooks, broken up by Ike. And Brooks can't save it. It goes to Gonzaga with 2:46 to go.
How many times have we had possessions like that, though, where you're like, hey, momentum's starting to go to the Huskies, and it turns out to be a turnover or just an errant pass? The final 2:46 of this game, how many turnovers Washington has can determine whether or not they're going to win this contest. Can't give the Zags extra opportunities.
Yeah, we're not the only ones who have headphones on tonight. It is loud inside Alaska Airlines Arena. 72-70 Washington leading Gonzaga with Sean Farnham and our ESPN crew. Roxy Bernstein with you from Seattle. The Zags have made just one of their last 12, and Washington has taken a lead and looking for their first upset of a top 10 team in 5 years, where Gonzaga has a winning streak of 16 straight over Pac-12 teams. It's on the line. In fact, they haven't lost to Washington since December of 2005. Adam Morrison was on that Gonzaga team. That's how long it's been since the Huskies have beaten Gonzaga.
Well, and the defensive transition for the Huskies has been good here, forcing Gonzaga to not get as many opportunities in transition early in the shot clock. The Zags are 0 for 6 from 3 here in the second half, shooting just 26% from the field.
Nolan Hickman, and he stepped on the sideline, and Gonzaga turns it over.
And think about that number, though, 26%, 0 of 6 from 3. In the first half, they were 5 of 9 from 3, and overall shot 56% from the field.
And Nolan Hickman has not been the factor he was in the first half for the Zags.
And a lot of that goes to the defense of Washington. And they have been dialed in here.
And an offensive foul is Brooks. And Nolan Hickman says, hey, gas bags up there broadcasting the game, I'm contributing. And he draws the charge on Keon Brooks. That's his fourth.
Well, the question is, where are you going if you're Keon Brooks? I mean, Nolan Hickman's standing right in front of you.
Ryan Nembhard drives, finds an open Dusty Stromer. Kept alive by Watson. Ben Gregg thought about it.
That was a heck of a catch by Ryan Nembhard.
And the offensive foul, Ryan Nembhard the charge. His fourth foul with 1:48 to go.
Just trying to do a little bit too much, and we've seen it twice. That off arm, and you dip your shoulder and you extend off with the off-ball hand. They're going to call it every time.
Graham Ike comes back for Mark Few. Xavier Wheeler. 8 to shoot for the Huskies. Moses Wood, a tough step back three. And the rebound chased down by Anton Watson, his 13th rebound of the game. Ryan Nembhard in the paint. Had it stripped, loose ball. And a foul is called on Graham Ike of Gonzaga. Or is it on Ike? Ray Natili, the official. Yes, it is Ike. And that's the fourth on Ike.
The last couple of possessions, Ryan Nembhard has just been trying to do a little bit too much. You know, there he gets so deep. I'd say go off a 2 and just shoot the floater over the top.
2 shots in the double bonus for Koren Johnson. He's 2 for 3 from the line tonight. 9 points off the bench. Johnson's played majority of the second half for Mike Hopkins.
Now Paul Mulcahy spent a majority of the second half on the bench.
One more for Johnson. And he gives the Huskies a 4-point lead with just over a minute to go. Huskies down the stretch have outscored Gonzaga 14-4. They trailed by as many as 11 here in the second half, and they have scored 6 straight to go up 4. 68 seconds remain.
What has impressed me most about the Huskies tonight has been their ability to defend, in particular in defensive transition in the second half, Roxy. I mean, they've taken away a lot of that early transition looks that we were seeing happen in the first half. Hasn't been as often in the second half at all.
74-70 Washington. All right, if you're Gonzaga here, your offense has been a little bit out of rhythm here down the stretch. Where's Mark Few looking to go?
Well, the problem is nobody's been able to make a shot from beyond the arc in the perimeter. You don't need, obviously, a three-point shot on this possession. To me, the trusted hand is 22. Whether you're going to ask him to take the shot or distribute the ball, Anton Watson makes the best decisions out on the floor.
Graham Ike in the lane and lays it in, makes it a two-point game, and a foul is called.
That should have been.
An and one for Ike. And it's on Frank Kempnong, his third.
He flew out of nowhere, but there was definitely contact coming from behind. You watch him fly into your screen, that is an easy call. Was not called up by the official underneath. It was called actually by the official near side to us.
Deldre Carr on the sideline made the call. Ike 1 for 2 from the line tonight. Rattles in, 1-point game. 1 minute to go.
Now Washington has to value the ball. Sahvir Wheeler has got to be patient here and poised. Play off of 2.
Keon Brooks, and a foul is called, and Brooks will go to the line. Watson whistled for his second.
No, that's going to be on Dusty Stromer.
You're right, and he's fouled out.
That's his fourth
I take it
foul.
back, it's his 4th foul.
Yeah,
so 4 on Stromer.
Yeah, Stromer just reaches in.
So he's got 4, Ike has 4, and Ryan Nembhard has 4 for Gonzaga. Brooks now 3 for 3 from the line.
One possession game regardless of a make here.
And the Zags are out of timeouts. And a timeout for Washington leaves Mike Hopkins with 1.
I think this is a good timeout by Coach Hopkins. It gives him an opportunity, to get all of his defense set up exactly the way that he wants it. But maybe even more importantly is to calm his team and understand what they can do once they get the ball. Right? Because anticipate a foul, anticipate a trap, anticipate if they make a shot and it's a 2-point shot, full court pressure. Talk through all the scenarios that could happen here. Now, if you're Gonzaga, you're also sitting there saying, thank you for the timeout. We're going to set up exactly what we want to do at the offensive end of the floor. The last couple of times when they've come in this possession, they look for Ike to set the on-ball screen at the top of the key, and they're diving him right to the rim.
And they've had trouble making the 3 here in the second half, which you've highlighted. Down 3 with 41.8 to go. There's still a lot of time, which means the Zags don't necessarily have to go for a 3, even though they're down 3 right now. Gonzaga's made just 1 of their last 10 shots from the floor. 76-73 Washington.
If it's a rhythm 3, take it. If it's not, be aggressive, get to the basket.
Graham Ike's got 18 to lead the Zags. Nolan Hickman with 17 tonight. Here comes Ryan Nembhard.
Here's that. Watch Ike on the dive. And he
Out of
fumbled
bounds. Washington ball.
That was a very difficult pass. And almost an uncertain pass from Nolan Hickman. Watch as he dives here. He sees it, hesitates, and then tries to throw it. There's no window there for the ball to really be delivered.
Junsu Kyo checks in. Now the full court pressure. Gonzaga not fouling yet. And they lob it across to Brooks. And a foul will send Keon Brooks Jr. to the line. 23.5 seconds remain. second on Jun Suk-yo. And 2 shots in the double bonus, and Keon Brooks Jr. is 4 for 4 from the line tonight. And again, the Zags, no timeouts.
We're 23.5 seconds away from a day of depth in the Pac-12. Utah beating BYU. Washington and Coach Hopkins getting a signature win if they are able to close this thing out.
Arizona with a huge win. So 1 more for Brooks. Remains perfect at the line. Here comes Nembhard. Braden Huff launches a 3. And the rebound, Moses Wood. And a jump ball, Arrow Gonzaga with 8.9 to go.
It's still a 2-possession game, right? So now on your out-of-bounds call, you want something either going to the hoop or a wide-open 3. That's your 2 options, right? But it's got to be extremely quick here.
8.9. Ryan Nembhard playing it in. Finds Watson in the corner. Forces up a 3. And the rebound, Keon Brooks Jr. grabs it. That'll do it. And for the first time in 5 years, the Huskies have knocked off a top 10 team in the 16-game winning streak over the Pac-12 for Gonzaga has come to an end across the state of Washington and Seattle. 78-73, Washington knocks off number 7 Gonzaga.
And they are storming the court here in Washington. It's unbelievable when you think about Mike Hopkins, and comes into the conference and was 2-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year. In the recent years, it's been tough. It's been a struggle. And they've needed to have a victory that mattered, that cut through. And tonight, they were able to accomplish it. In the second half, they locked in defensively. They won this game not because of their offense, Roxy. They won this game because of their defense and the ability to get back in defensive transition. For Frank Kepnang to stay out of foul trouble and be able to maintain his level of aggressiveness throughout the course of the night.
Gonzaga midway through the second half had a 6-point lead. Washington closed the game on an 18-7 run, and they win it 78-73 over Gonzaga. 5 Huskies in double figures, led by 17 from Keon Brooks Jr. So the Huskies upset number 7 Gonzaga. For my partner, Sean Farnham, and our ESPN crew, Roxy Bernstein saying so long from Seattle. Bad Beats up next.